Good journey, everyone. Welcome to Space Oats Live, a Star Wars podcast. I am the Crucial Crew member. Hope everybody is doing great this week. It's been a little while, been about 2 weeks since I've done this, so you know, not much has really happened. I mean, we did have a week of holiday week with some good Black Friday deals. I bought a lot. I mean, not a lot. I spent a good amount of money on some Star Wars stuff. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen one of my new Roosevelts that I actually purchased. I wore just yesterday, going to the Festival of Holidays at Epcot. So finally got my hands on the It's a Trap um, Roosevelt shirt, which was never in my size. So finally it was there, my size. Great Black Friday deal. Got it for a good discount, as well as another shirt, which I will show off at some point. Maybe, I don't know. I might not wear it until Mosh Eisley, if that has any indication as to which one it is. We'll see. But I bought some diff sunglasses. I got some. What else did I get? I don't know. I bought a good amount of stuff this past couple weeks. But yeah, so it's been a good week. Yeah, like I said, I finally got to Festival of the Holidays. I actually finally got to Jock Lindsay's Hangar Bar for the some of the holiday overlays and food offerings there. I posted about that as well on my Instagram. So I think I did. Maybe, I don't know. Did I? Maybe not. I'll have to post that if I didn't. But yeah, always love Jock Lindsay's with their seasonal offerings. They have, if you've never been there, a really great Indiana Jones themed lounge. My favorite place on Disney property, as far as lounge bars, which surprising is not Star Wars, but it is Indiana Jones. But we just got. I love the chicken on the egg. That is one of my favorite appetizer small bites on Disney property as well. It's like fried chicken on a deviled egg with some honey glaze. It's just spectacular. It's one of my favorite things to get. Well, they have a play on it for the seasonal offerings, and it's ham on the egg. And you can either get it naughty or nice. And the nice side is the sweet glaze. The naughty side has a little bit of a kick to it. I honestly love the naughty ones better. We got them both, my wife and I, and love the naughty ones better because it does take away from the sweetness a little bit. To carry off on that, I also got one of the drinks, the new drinks, which is called Lump of Coal. It's a vodka-based drink with blue curacao and some other things. It's blue, and then it has a black sugar rim, which is sweet at first, but once you get past that sugar rim, it's a good, well-balanced vodka drink. So if you like vodka drinks, kind of reminded me of the Jedi Mind Trick at Oga's, but with just a little bit of extra sweetness to it. But really good drink. Fantastic. I will post that. If I didn't post it, I guess I may not have posted it. I can't remember. But anyway, good times this week and last week, and it's been great. And I know everybody's dying about my takes of Skeleton Crew, which debuted a day earlier. They kind of like threw that on us, and they even threw like something else on us like really last minute, which I just got to start banking on this. That anytime that there's a Disney release, they're going to do a screening of it in a theater. Which I didn't catch that. Obviously, I was working anyway, so I wouldn't have been able to make it. But they always kind of throw this. It was supposed to come out December 3rd. That was the announcement, everything, all that. They pushed a week before. Literally last week, they said, "Oh, we're gonna release it on Monday, December 2nd." And then like a day later, they're like, "Hey, everybody, grab your tickets from Fandango exclusive event. You can go to certain theaters and see it live," which they've been doing that. And I've yet to be able to catch on that. I work on Monday night, so it's kind of hard for me to be able to do that. But I just need to start asking off for the day before these screenings so that I can do it. But sometimes they do it on Sunday too, which is just really messy. But anyway, didn't get to go see it in the theater, but I did watch it. I didn't watch it Monday night, actually. I was working, didn't get home until a little bit later. Was kind of going to do it, but then got up early Tuesday morning because we were going to go to the parks anyway. And we watched both episodes before we went to the park on Tuesday. I did watch them again Tuesday night, and kind of have had them on, but not really watched them for a third time. But yeah, so already I am enjoying it, by the way. Love it so far. I can see where there's going to be people that can't stand the series. I can see that certain toxic fans that I can already tell It's going to be one of those things. I really hope Disney doesn't listen to them, uh, and we kind of like just let it go all the way till the end. Maybe give people a chance to actually see it this time before making any decisions. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how this is going to end, so I don't know if they're going to set it up for any further. It is in the Mandoverse, and there is some things um, that tie into that. So we'll kind of connect some of those dots already. With what I've seen and read about. So yeah, so we'll see what happens with this series. But before we do that, if you do follow me normally, you know that I talk a lot about Star Wars history. And I always do my segment not long ago in this galaxy. So yeah, like, got to do that first before we start talking about Skeleton Crew. We got to do that. So what happened in Star Wars history? And I watched this episode today, actually. If anybody remembers this, the Clone Wars just are amazing, right? Everybody agrees that everybody loves the Clone Wars. I think one of those things that people agree, whether you're an old school fan, a new fan, you just love the Clone Wars. And let me change my video here. I don't really like, always, this one always pops up. I wish I could just figure out a default. But yeah, so if everybody, I think everybody agrees about the Clone Wars. Clone Wars are fantastic. This goes back to season 2 of the Clone Wars. Not long ago in this galaxy. Again, this segment I usually post sometimes on Instagram, sometimes I go live on my YouTube channel every day, just talking about something in Star Wars history. And this goes back to 2009, December 4th, 2009, the Star Wars The Clone Wars episode Brain Invaders. One of those episodes that kind of had creepy vibes to it, kind of like that horror in Disney, almost like alien vibes. Love this episode, super fun. Carrying off of a story arc with the Geonosian hive that they, kind of took over and finally conquered again and all that. So, but a lot of fun. Love this episode. It was great and creepy. I love that. Yes, it was. So love that. It's a great episode. It starts off. So anyway, it first aired in the U.S. on December 4th, 2009. It was the 8th episode of the second season. And in this episode, you have Ahsoka Tano and Barriss Offee, which great character, showed up in Tales of the Empire again with a little bit of more story on what happened to her, which was fantastic to see. I was a little disappointed in what happened to her. I love her character. I would love to see Barriss live at some point, but who knows if we'll ever get a tale or a flashback or something of her. It would be fantastic. But Barriss and Ahsoka kind of given as Padawans the duty of a cargo run to Ord Cestus, a kind of a medical base for the clones. And what they don't realize is that these little worms, the egg worms, brain worms or whatever you want to call them from the Geonosians, basically host one of the clones. And then he, under their control, bring a bunch more onto the ship. And the whole idea is to basically expand their race again and kind of take over and live on some way somewhere else, which is, would have been disastrous if they would have been able to get to the medical frigate there on Ord Cestus. So yeah, now this ship that Ahsoka and Barriss are on is infected by these clones, which actually is Tango Company, is the name of that group of clones there. And yeah, they got to stop that ship from docking at Ord Cestus. Master Fisto is there. He wants them to continue to come to Ord Cestus because he wants to get a hold of these parasites and somehow discover what they are, so that if there is an outbreak, they know how to stop them and all that. The clones are pretty much all infected at this point, and then finally Barriss gets infected as well. And Ahsoka and Barriss have a really cool lightsaber duel, which continues on into the ship being freezing, because it ends up being discovered that with a little bit of interrogation, Anakin with Poggle the Lesser, who they were transporting to Coruscant for trial, he shows his dark side and gets Poggle alone and force chokes him into into basically revealing that like cold is their weakness. So Anakin relays that to Ahsoka. Ahsoka basically gets the ship to a freezing temperature, which the clones uh, start to, release the hosts release from the clones. And then Ahsoka has a final duel with Barriss, which gets them all the way up to the cockpit. You almost think that Ahsoka has to sacrifice Barriss's life. Barriss actually asking Ahsoka to kill her, with the pain and the suffering that she is feeling, and just not wanting to hurt Ahsoka. She wants to sacrifice her own life, but Ahsoka does not do that. Kind of following in her master's teachings, and his leanings of not really agreeing with all of the dogma of the Force and or the Jedi, and basically that the attachment with friendship and not sacrificing others, and trying to do everything in their power to save the ones that they care about. So Ahsoka does not strike her down. And everyone is saved, even all the clones. I think all of them. I mean, it seems like some of them were killed in the beginning there, when they first started attacking. But the most of them that were infected, we'll say, were of Tango Company, were saved. Probably not all of them, I think, survived that ordeal. But again, a creepy episode. I think all of that Geonosis story arc there, when they went like a couple episodes before, were pretty creepy as well. So love that. Those zombie like Geonosians in some of the previous episodes, really creepy as well. So kind of like foreshadowing some of the really creepy episodes that were to come, like the Night Sisters zombies, and the Night Troopers and Ahsoka, just all that cool stuff. Got our first little taste of that kind of thing to come into Star Wars. So pretty fantastic. But yeah, that episode again aired December 4th, 2009. Not long ago in this galaxy. So again, season 2, episode 8, and yeah, go back and watch it. It's a great episode. Yeah, so that is not long ago in this galaxy. Again, I do that every day, either by post usually, or going live here on my YouTube channel. So subscribe, hit those notifications, that way you know when I go live. It's just one of those things that I do. So, so much fun. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on to Skeleton Crew. I'm pretty sure that Alex said that he has not watched the episodes yet. Basically, what do you say? Busy Tuesdays and through Thursdays. Yeah. So Skeleton Crew. I was just talking to somebody, a friend of mine tonight, about it. I asked him if he had watched it yet. He said no. He asked me what I thought of it, and I'm loving it so far. Again, I love the old Amblin Entertainment movies, E.T., Goonies, all those kids adventure movies. I love those movies, especially growing up with them. I think a lot of those movies inspired me, and inspired like my friend who I grew up with, my neighbor, to play outside, to have adventures, just to reenact those movies, or Star Wars movies, whatever we were acting, and just like playing characters, getting outside, just being active. I love that. I really hope that this kind of Star Wars film does that for the new generation of fans. Just gets them away from. I mean, the video games are great. Don't get me wrong. I love video games. I'm not a huge gamer, but I do like playing video games, Star Wars video games. At that, which I am into Outlaws right now. I'm liking it a lot, so far, and I really I think that just getting kids outside, and just having fun playing actively, and using your imagination, without just having something in the front of you on the screen, and just having it all there, tangible, where you have to actually dream it up yourself. I think that's good for the generation, and I hope this movie, this series, kind of does that, because it actually plays off of that as well. So So far, loving the first two episodes. I mean, we haven't even really touched base on like what's going on yet. The venture really has just started at the end of the first two episodes. Um, really like the whole first episode was really just set up. And then at the end of that episode, boom, adventure starts. Second episode really catapults because it's like they don't even know what the heck's going on. So, and I love that you said that because Skeleton Crew has a lot to that. I'll get to that in a minute. And you're gonna love the first. The first episode is very nostalgic, especially when we meet the kids. But that's not actually how it starts off. The first episode, how it starts off. Again, so we're going kind of the way Ahsoka has. Um, did I don't think Andor did. I think Ahsoka has been the only one so far, right? With the words, besides the original films, but just different, um, in a different way. But Ahsoka's was red, red words. This is going back to the blue, um, which I knew was another. There was another series that did blue, wasn't it? I can't remember. So not the yellow crawl, not the red crawl. Now we get the blue, kind of just giving us a description, a little bit of backstory, kind of setting up our timeline where we are, New Republic era, Mandoverse, basically, with this series, and gives us a little bit of background on where we are. You can tell from the setup, from the prologue, that this is going to be a pirate movie, which we kind of got right. We got that from the trailer, that it's going to be a pirate movie. Um, so I don't know. That's a good question. I wonder if the color means something. That's a great question. Talking about the color in the prologue. Um, I mean, honestly, Ahsoka very dark, right? Kind of like the rise of the Empire. This I'm feeling that this is more of a family adventure. So I don't think this is going to be very dark. But yeah, you wonder like what the whole goal of this series is in connection to the Mandoverse, which I don't think anybody really knows yet. I think that'll come clear as we get through this series, where the connection is. Again, I'll talk about where some connections are as far as how it or where in the galaxy it might connect, or how it might connect because of where it takes place in the galaxy in a minute, or later on. But I loved how the episode started off very much like a pirate movie. It gave me Pirates of the Caribbean vibes from the start, and also A New Hope vibes. Kind of the way that we see the planet, and then we see the Curlian Corvette, basically coming into frame there. I guess it's kind of like a Curlian Corvette. It looks a lot like one. I don't know if it's similar to the blockade runners, or maybe it's a little bit different, but very similar nonetheless, as far as look. So it's definitely a Curlian design. But you can tell it's been damaged. And then all of a sudden, this other ship coming up beside it, which again, very pirate-like, the vibes going on there. And then you get that feeling of, the pirate movies where all the pirates just start swinging across, into the other ship to take it over. It just full on goes in that direction. And I'm not going to give too much away of like what they do, because it really cool start to the film. But you do get that aspect of like them coming across, like how they put the planks across, similar to that, and then also swinging across, same vibes. But just picture this in space. It was a cool space pirate, takeover of another ship. Obviously, the pirates looking for some bounty. We get our first look at Brutus coming in already, and also Vane, the pirate that was under Gregorian Shaw, from the Mandalorian, the one that escaped. He is there as well. But Brutus is the wolf-like pirate, the one that we've seen his species before in the Cantina, Mos Eisley Cantina, in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And then we get this other pirate that's masked. That here's the one thing that predictability with Disney sometimes. From the first episode, I wish it would just kind of keep things a little bit more obscure, but you can pretty much, it's kind of predictable on who the character was. And I don't know if that's intentional. I don't know if it really matters that we kind of know who this character is, or the background of this character. But it's very clear from the voice that it's Jude Law's character, that he's Captain Silvo. Um, I mean, at least it was very clear that it was his voice to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. I didn't watch the credits to see if that was the case or not. But if it is, maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe that's totally going to be different. But you would think, okay, well then Jude Law's a pirate, so he's bad, right? Don't know. Don't know yet. Um, I guess we'll find out. But so they're there to obviously raid this ship. It seems like they're after credits. Pirates are always after their credits, their bounty. So they get into the vault. Nothing there. The vault is empty, and obviously it's all on the captain. So they've obviously been struggling from kind of like how the setup is. This is their big. They're going to be their big score, and it doesn't happen. So then, of course, what happens? Mutiny. And he basically says it too. So we know that, and then that kind of cutscene. Then we go to the kids. We're going to set up the rest of the story is the kids setting their stories up. Where are they in this galaxy? Who are they? Get a little bit of feel for these characters. We are going to a new planet called At-Atin. A-T space A-T-T-I-N. At-Atin. We learn a lot more about this planet, or this planet gets a little bit more mysterious in the second episode. But at first, it just seems like an average, peaceful planet, At-Atin. Kind of almost looks very Earth-like in a way. The way it's set up, kind of like got the rural homes, very Earth-like homes. Something that you would see maybe in a community anywhere. In fact, I would love to own a home that looked similar to these homes. And then you have a kind of a city that's close by, and public transportation, all of this. It says where AT-ATs are born. I don't think so at all. Unless there's another part of this planet that we don't know about. But this is a very, very structured planet where people are involved in the Republic, the New Republic. And they do have a place in the New Republic, and everybody has a place and are kind of schooled to be in a place, very structured. So kind of in a creepy way also, which I don't know if you'll get that feel, but I got that feel. But yeah, so the kids are waking up, the parents are waking up just to start their completely average normal days. We got Wim, the main character of this series. Which I'll put him up here because he is kind of like the main character of this series. And oops, what did I do? I think I shared it for a minute, and then I accidentally closed it out by accident. So sorry about that. But I do have another photo of him, so let me just pull that up. Wim is really the main character of this series. So he's the one that kind of gets everything in motion. So Wim wakes up. He apparently is a single parent household. His father is the one that's raising him. So apparently something happened to his mother. We haven't learned really what yet, but he is, and he's very adventurous. And you get that off the bat. You see him playing with Star Wars figures, which is really cool. Love that. He's got a little Jedi and a little Sith, and he's playing with them dueling. So love that. Again, very average, but just like kids had like military type toys. This is a very peaceful time. He's playing off these myths, these stories that apparently there's action figures for. Um, he comes down, eats some breakfast with his dad. There's blue milk there. A little nod to that, which is cool, in a nice container, by the way. Blue milk in a very fancy container. But he's got his little story pad, kind of like comic books, right? Really cool. It's the same role like Mike and Shrek. Yeah, kind. I would say that. Yeah, it does have these Stranger Thing vibes, where every character kind of has their own little little quirks and things. So yeah, I could say you can compare him to Mike in Stranger Things. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah, like Mike, yeah, very adventurous. Um, and so he's got his little storyboards, kind of like his little comic book. He's got different stories on there, which is really cool. You see some like Jedi stories and other stories in there, which is pretty cool. And then he walks out of the house, uh, trying to go to school, meets up with his friend Neil. Was the first thing they do? They start play acting the stories that they read, that they're Jedi. He's got a toy lightsaber that he's either made or bought or whatever. Neil just kind of imaginary saber. He kind of doesn't even have anything, but they make the noises. It's so nostalgic that they both have very heavy imaginations, and it really took me back to just the things that I would do as a child. Just loving the Star Wars stories, whether we were playing with action figures, pretending to do it with lightsabers, whatever. I know that pretty much any Star Wars fan growing up, especially with the generation from the original trilogies, um, I doubt there's anyone out there that didn't pretend to ignite a saber and have the sound effects at one time or another. I mean, we even do it as adults sometimes, right? I know I do. So love that part of the story. It really kind of just shows that this is just a very average, normal world, where kids are just being kids, going to school, and they board the bus. And another little Easter egg there: the bus driver is an RX droid. Love that. Love seeing an RX series droid on the bus, which was fantastic. And yeah, so it just starts off really cool. Then kind of on the way to the school, we meet another character, or another two characters, the other two kids that are in the series that come together, as they're on the bus. A speeder bike comes up next to them with the sidecar. That one, speeder bike with the sidecar, with Fern at the behind the handlebars of that speeder bike, and KB in the sidecar. And obviously these two are friends, but they don't know each other at this point. So Win and Neil, and Fern and KB are kind of separate at this point in time. And she's kind of like more of a rebel, but still got that adventurous side to her, but just in a different way. And racing these hover bikes to school. They kind of go and take a side shortcut out off towards the woods, which Win sees that and he gets really excited, trying to get Neil's attention. They end up getting to school. They basically go about their day, and then and go home. Um, Apparently, there's this test that they're going to take the next day, which kind of like gives them their career path. And Win not really ready for this, and he ends up the next day waking up late. So he misses the bus. He's got to get to school, and he tries this shortcut that he saw from the day before. And this is where he finds what he thinks is maybe an entrance to a Jedi temple, which is kind of goes back to like just the discovery of some kind of mysterious buried treasure of some sort. Again, mistaking it for this circular door for a buried Jedi temple, which kind of hints a little bit to Jedi temples can hide themselves. We've seen that in Star Wars Rebels. We've seen that in a couple other stories or heard of that in other stories as well. So, maybe he's heard these stories as well. Maybe that's why he thinks it's a hidden Jedi temple. He's fascinated with Jedis, obviously. So, maybe he's read that before. Maybe he's heard about that before. So pretty cool to be able to see that. He does get caught. The school droids find him, and he ends up going to like detention. Fern ends up meeting him there, and basically tells him that it's because of her racing her hover bike around, and the droid's not liking that as well. So Wynn's father comes really upset with him about having to leave his job to come and pick him up, and demands that he goes home and studies because of the next day. Of course, Wynn wants to go explore again this Jedi temple, so he goes and he has already told Fern about this when they're kind of meeting there for their after school detention, so she knows about it. And so he goes and gets Neil. This is where it gets really fun because another great Easter egg that popped up at this point in time is a little nod to this. A little nod to this. Do you recognize what this is? We just celebrated Life Day, right? November 17th. I just watched this, and my wife got it right away, which was really great because, she was her first time watching the Star Wars Holiday Special this year when I watched it this year. But they did a little nod to the holiday special with the little circus performers. Neil's family, his kids, they're watching this in their little room there in their house, but in a different way. This is the old one. I think I can't remember if this is the old one or the new one. It looked really great. It looked perfect, honestly. But so really great nod to the Star Wars Holiday Special. I love how the Holiday Special just keeps getting more and more love throughout the years, and uh, I love it so much. So yeah, that was a little nod to the Star Wars Holiday Special that happened. But so they go to the doorway. Go back to the doorway, and they end up coming across Fern and KB already there, which they kind of, in the kid-like fashion, when you find something, finders keepers type of thing. Well, they call it claimsies. So they call claimsies on the and they have their little, kids way of doing that, which is fun. Again, kids will be kids. I love this whole uh, different perspective on Star Wars, and I love the way that they just kind of are telling this story. But they're trying to figure out what it is. If it's a hatch to something or what it might be. Fern is very sarcastic and she loves to tell stories. So she kind of has this very funny little story of what she has heard it is, even though she's pulling everybody's chain. But that there's people that were trapped down there and they're dead, and you can still hear their screams and all that stuff. She actually gets Wim and Neil to kind of put their ears like down to try to listen, and then she hits it with a shovel, which is a really fun little, again, kids being kids, scaring each other, doing all that. Kind of get Fern or get Wim and Neil kind of into actually digging it out. They finally get it open and get inside. This what ends up being, finding out, is a ship, but they don't know it yet. They're still kind of not really sure when it opens. Curious about it. They all go in. It's all dark in there. They can't really see anything. They find some skeletons, which at first they think it's a skeleton, but then it's just the droid that ends up being SM-33, which is the droid voiced by Nick Frost. But he's out. They don't really know what it is as of yet. They do end up getting some of the power on. And then that's when everything just goes crazy because, Fern's kind of telling him not to touch anything. Wim just can't help himself, and he's in what he doesn't know it is, and it lights up. he ends up touching a blinking button, because why not? The button's blinking. It's asking for it to be touched. And he pushes that button, and it is a spaceship. The spaceship is actually called the Onyx Cinder, which they don't know the name of the ship, but it ends up just initiating an autopilot sequence, probably from its last trajectory or whatever. Don't know how that actually initiated or where it was from, or maybe that was the coordinates it was supposed to go to before the ship, something, whatever happened to it. Um, in the time that it's actually taking off, the kids are trying to actually get out. Must push button. Yes, must push button. The kids are actually trying to get out of the ship. Wim's father actually does show up at this time, and he sees them in the ship as basically they're trying to get out, but then realize that they can't, so they basically make them their ways in the ship, and the hatch closes, and then boom, it's into space, and then it immediately goes into hyperspace, and they don't know where the heck they're going. So, but that is how it actually just kind of gets started with anything. So, and these kids are basically hurtling towards the sky in a starship. For the first time in their lives, they're getting ready to begin to understand how vast this galaxy is about to be. So pretty cool start. Again, it ended with them going into hyperspace. So episode 2 continues on this story. They're in, basically it starts off with the ship in hyperspace. Really cool. Again, we always get to see like so many cool different views from hyperspace. So I love how like every time we see hyperspace, it looks a little bit differently. We always see ships like going in hyperspace, never like coming towards you in hyperspace. But this was a cool shot, starting off with the ship coming into hyperspace. They do get out of hyperspace. They're in the middle of nowhere. And this is the beginning of the second episode, which is entitled "Way Way Out Past the Barrier." Apparently, on Ad-Atten, there's a barrier that really is controlled. Again, this planet very controlling to its people. Not very many people were able to come and go without certain permission, and it had a really interesting, like almost like a force field aspect to it around the planet's atmosphere, which was pretty interesting. So, but it basically comes out of hyperspace, middle of the galaxy. That's where we kind of get to meet SM-33, which, if you didn't realize, SM-33, if you kind of look at his name, is kind of like Smee. We kind of learn that SM-33, Nick Frost, voicing this again, ends up being the kind of like the droid for the captain of the ship, the previous captain of the ship, the Onyx Cider. So he lumbers into view. We actually get to see that he does have a peg leg, one eye, with a funny little creature, or a little mouse like creature that kind of lives in his other eye, which is pretty fun. And you understood that reference? That's good. And then so he comes, obviously he's loyal to his captain all the way till the end. He's finally awake. He's wondering what they're doing here. He's getting ready to throw him out of the airlock, which is pretty funny. Fern, who basically not even flinching with her storytelling, because she is just kind of this little rebel. Basically, she tells him that she killed his captain, and tells him that he's the captain. She's the captain now. So, and he believes her. Very, very strong for her character. You can see that she's going to probably be the strong, maybe grounded person of this four group. So they need to get to somewhere. They don't know where they are. They kind of ask him if he knows where Ad-Atten, and because that's where they live. He goes through a bunch of different worlds that start with A. Nothing comes up with Ad-Atten. He doesn't know where Ad-Atten is. Apparently, he didn't know where they were going or where they were, from whatever the story's past is. I guess we'll find out a little bit history on that ship at some point, and why it landed, or how long it has been since it got to that planet and was buried underneath all of that um, all of that Earth. I say Earth, but it's not really Earth because it's not an Earth. All that planet surface. But I guess we'll find out a little bit more story about how it got there and how long it's been there. At some point, maybe. But maybe not. I don't know. But they need to get somewhere for directions. So SM33 basically says that he can take them to somewhere where they might be able to get some answers, and they end up going to Starport Borgo, which ends up becoming very clear that they should not be there because it is a pirate port, and it does have that feel. I loved the look of this spaceport. It did look like um, a port for ships. And the way it was set up and everything, they kind of dock outside around, and then they take these little dinghy lifeboats to the surface. And it just had this feel of this like trading post, but it is a pirate trading post. Everybody there was not somebody that you want to deal with too much. And so it is worth noting as far as where Port Borgo is, because that kind of ties into where we are in the Mandoverse and why it might come into play with a connection. Because this story, obviously, in this part of the galaxy, where are we? Well, Port Borgo is near the Hydian Way. So other planets that are close to the Hydian Way, which is a hyperspace route, is Mandalore and Navarro. So again, we're in the same area of the Mandoverse episodes, minus Ahsoka, really, because Ahsoka's now in a different galaxy. But we're in the same part of the galaxy. Don't know if where Ad-Atten is. We have no idea where Ad-Atten is. So, and it comes very clear why. But a couple of, again, nods, Easter eggs to different characters throughout. Um, the little creature that kind of takes them from the ship to the spaceport is a teak. But I don't really know. Is it a teak? Because so we've already kind of confirmed, the directors and everything have said that the character that Neil is not the same creature as Max Rebo. There's different elephant creatures in the galaxy, right? It was kind of thought that this little character that we saw was a teak, right? I don't know if it's been confirmed yet or not, but the character is definitely a lot smaller than the teak in the Ewok television movie. Very tiny, almost Anzellan size, but he does look like a teak. Facial features and everything. Kind of sounds like maybe a Teak too, but Teak didn't really make a lot of noises in the Endor um, movie, the Battle for Endor. But we also got to see another character or some other creatures that we've seen before. And I don't think I actually got. No, I didn't do from the series, but another creature making its way to canon are these creatures, which I love this as well. Hold on, let me pull it up here. Um, does everybody remember Captain EO? Loved Captain EO. Uh, oop, there we go. The little creature, the little fuzzball that was on Michael Jackson's shoulder, that one right there. We got to see a bunch of those. We got a bunch of those in this episode in Port Borgo. Love these little fuzzball creatures. And they do fly, which is so much fun. They look so cool. But yeah, love Captain EO. Miss it at Epcot. Wish you saw it. I say, where can you see it? Is it online or anything? I can't remember if it is online or streaming anywhere. But I did see it at Epcot. I saw it when it came back to Epcot. Saw it a couple times actually. Loved it. George Lucas did write and direct, maybe that. I can't remember if he did both or not, but did have a big part in Captain EO. So, but I love it. Miss it. Wish it would come back at some point. I doubt it ever will. But yeah, so Captain EO character now canon in the Star Wars galaxy. So much fun to be able to see that character as well. So again, on Port Borgo, the kids are just trying to find information on how to get back home, really, because they do realize that this was a mistake. Um, Kind of split up a little bit and went their separate ways. Neil and Wim sticking together. Fern and KB get separated a little bit, but then they're kind of brought back together. So they're kind of split up into two. Wim and Neil went to go to get something to eat. They get some disgusting, nasty stuff, and the throw down their credits, and that kind of gets revealed. They're not knowing they're on a pirate spaceport, where these credits come from. They realize they are old Republic credits, so this is an interesting little first hint as to where they're from, because they're old Republic credits, not new Republic credits. So they got credits that are getting used that have not been seen for many, many years, and they're shiny and new. So obviously, this is going to pique the pirates' interest in the kids, and then he starts, trying to get more money out of them. And we get a new Star Wars curse word here, which is love it. He says criffing. Uh, so criff being another word in Star Wars that is a heavy curse word. Of course, pirates, they're going to use nasty language. So we get a new pirate language. Love it. Dank Ferric and Ichuta and criffing, and we could just all start saying these words now and people have no idea what we're talking about, and they just look at us funny. But also, by the way, they use the term wizard as well. If you don't remember, wizard being kind of like the cool, awesome word of the galaxy, used by Anakin, and then also it's been used again before, or again, I think in Rebels, maybe Ezra used it maybe once or twice. But yeah, we get that again. That's so wizard. That was used, I think, by Neil in the first episode. So, but yeah, so uh, they really kind of start learning at this point when they start asking where At-Atten is, or how to get back to At-Atten. As when everybody starts asking them where are they from, they keep saying At-Atten. Everybody starts laughing at them and just thinking that they're joking. They learn that no one knows about At-Atten. Not even, there's a Thielen, which, if you remember Jeckie from the Acolyte, the Thielen that was had a bigger role than we've ever seen a Thielen have in the Star Wars galaxy. She's kind of like almost seemed like you want to trust her a little bit, trying to maybe help out Fern. When even Fern says that they're from At-At, and she kind of looks at him like, where are you really from? That planet doesn't exist. She says, or somebody says to one of the kids, that it's the lost planet of eternal treasure. So now the pirates are kind of just, they're maybe putting it together that they might know where At-Atten is. Don't know, but they're interested in these kids, and they're basically targets now for these treasure-hungry rogue pirates. So we got Brutus shows up, our wolf-like pirate. We got, which now it looks like he's in charge, now that Captain Silvo has been taken out of the picture from the beginning of the first episode. We see Vane again. We see Gunter. Gunter is the kind of half cyborg pirate that is played by Jaleel White. Yes, that is Jaleel White, the actor that did Urkel from Family Matters back in the day, which, if you're old enough, you remember that show. The Did I Do That? Clumsy little Urkel that he was. But Jaleel White, yes, back on screen now with Star Wars. Cool looking character. And then a couple of things that we see when we're going around this whole little pirate spaceport. We see pirates getting tattoos. One of them's getting a Hut Clan tattoo. So, maybe the Hut Clan is still out there going, which is cool. Maybe we'll see some more Huts. That would be cool at some point. Yeah, they all kind of, all four come together as they're trying to escape. And SM-33 shows up. He puts on a good show trying to protect them, protect his captain, but he gets kind of taken out, which unfortunately, shoot, someone, did I do that? Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious if that actually happened in a episode at some point. But they end up, getting thrown into the brig, which they don't even know what a brig is, which is kind of funny. Um, I would be I would be so I would fall off the couch if that actually happened. But Snowball, which is the actually name of the little mice, the mouse that lives in SM-33's eye, the little tiny creature there. Um, they think he can actually get the key to the brig. This is very reminiscent of Pirates of the Caribbean, by the way. I forgot to show the moment that SM-33 shows up to try to help them out. I just love his look. I mean, look at his peg leg. It's really cool. He's definitely modified. He was definitely modified too. Um, really good close up of him as well. Uh, love the K2, and you can see Snowball sticking out of his eye, the little mouse like creature. Kind of made his home in there, which is really cool. And then, another cool picture of the pirates. All the pirates, same pirates that we saw in the first episode, except for Captain Silva, which obviously they all mutinied against. So I guess they all decided to take him out. But Jaleel White's character there in the forefront, the cyborg look there, really cool. So, but they all get thrown into the brig. Another very kind of like Easter egg to Pirates of the Caribbean. The scene where they're trying to get the dog to get the key. This time they're trying to get Snowball to get the key, and he just runs away. But that's when we see Jod. Jod comes out, stumbles out of the brig, chains on, says that he can help them. And, they're kind of like, how in the world are you going to help us? And he says the distance between them and the key is an illusion, and he uses the Force to get the key to him. We do get to hear a little bit of the way he's dressed. He's just dressed in rags, kind of as a pauper, feet like wrapped up in rags. But he manages to levitate that key that is going to unlock the cell door. And you can hear the music, a little bit of reference to the Force motif, the Binary Sunset Force motif in the background there, kind of thrown in to that music there. And then he just asks that question, or they basically say, "Are you a Jedi?" And he, "Shh, can you keep a secret?" So that kind of asks the question, is he a Jedi or not? I don't think he is. Was he ever a Padawan learner? Possibly. Maybe that's the case. Maybe he did survive Order 66 and escape, kind of in the same way that, Kanan Jarrus did. Maybe he got free. Maybe his master sacrificed their life to get him away, but maybe he gave up and led a separate life. Again, kind of like just going into the dark. Does he still have Force potential? Obviously, or Force sensitivity? Yes. Or is he just a Force sensitive being that knows a little bit about the Force and has been taught in some way or another, or learned on his own in some way? But I don't think so. Like I'm swinging towards that he was a Padawan that was somehow escaped Order 66 and escaped into the galaxy, probably got mixed up with pirates and figured this is a great cover, and kind of keeps his Force abilities a secret in a way. But maybe that's how he got to be captain at some point, was by using these skills, and it kind of bit him in the butt, and lost that captainship, and now he's going to team up with these kids. But I think he's got his own little motive going on here. But where does this all work out? Is he, what's his past? Where is this going? Where is this all going to be? What's AT-AT and all about? How is this going to tie into the Mandoverse? We've got a lot of questions to be answered. Every episode is going to stream Tuesday nights, so can't wait to see what's going to happen next. How are they going to get off of Port Borg? So that'll be the next question. Port Borgo. So I guess we'll find out next week. I guess that's going to be next week. Is escaping Port Borgo is probably going to be the next week's episode. So, and then where are they going to go to next? So I guess we'll find out. Is anybody else going to show up? Are we going to get anybody like Zeb Aurelius, or are we going to get other characters into the series, or is this just going to be a series on its own and then maybe a tie-in at the end? I kind of want to I want it to be on its own. I want it to be on its own, no characters from other series. Maybe some Easter eggs here and there, but I really just want it to be its own little adventure, and then maybe an Easter egg at the end on how it's gonna tie into the other series in some way. Maybe like a end credit scene of maybe the next adventures for whoever makes it out of this. So I guess we'll find out as this series goes along. But again, I'm loving it so far. Hope everybody else is enjoying it. Hope you enjoyed it if you haven't watched it yet. And yeah, can't wait to see where this goes. So fun episode altogether. Definitely new Star Wars adventure. Definitely new. Definitely something new. That is it for me tonight. I am going to be out of here. Hopefully I'll get to do this next week again. If not, keep a watch. Subscribe to this podcast. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to hit those notifications. Know when I go live. I'll probably be doing some not long ago in this galaxy in the next week. So keep a lookout. Until next time, make sure you do something Star Wars, watch some Star Wars, listen to some Star Wars, read some Star Wars, play some Star Wars, do something Star Wars. Most importantly, whatever you're doing, may the stars light your way. Have a great night. Thanks for joining, Alex. I'll see you next time.